I was working with these clients every single day, and it just became like every single day or 5 times a week, I was having people coming to me being like, my dog is severely anxious, they have separation anxiety, they cry when I leave. And every single one of these dogs that was displaying these symptoms were also dogs that were rescued from the dog meat trade, from Yulin, from testing labs, from severe abuse situations, have all of this trauma. And the veterinarians that these people were taking these dogs to that they'd rescued, the veterinarians would be like, yeah, they're just anxious, you know, and putting them on Xanax and Prozac, like pet Xanax and Prozac, and I couldn't believe it. Like, was that the solution? And look, I'm not bashing Western medicine. I'm not a veterinarian. Like, I can't give medical advice, but it's just so obvious to me, just the way that children display anxiety based on where they've come from. It's so obvious to me that there is an anxiety being created in this animal's body because of what's going on in their mind, and all of these animals had come from trauma. So it was obvious that the animals were a product of their environment, and they have this anxiety based off of where they come from. They fear men today because they were abused by a man a year ago. They were left somewhere abandoned, alone for a long period of time, never knowing when they were going to eat or drink, and so now they constantly still have a fear associated with nourishment. These things to me are no-brainers. To me, it just is like 1 + 1 = 2. And sometimes I feel people don't see what I'm saying. I get so much shit all the time from people being like, dogs don't have anxiety, that's so ridiculous. And I'm like, wait, what? So the solution is to medicate them and numb what? So all you're doing when you're giving it, if you haven't worked through this trauma, but you're giving them Xanax and Prozac, all you're doing is numbing them, and that fear is continuously being generated under the surface. That's all that's happening. So this is why I created Heal, because it was like, no, Xanax and Prozac is not a tool to work through past trauma. That's for sure. It's just numbing you. It's the same thing with a human being. If they've experienced abuse and now they're numbing it with alcohol and drugs, like, we're not healing the core, we're just numbing the issue. It's the same thing with animals. Like, how are people not seeing that? Am I literally batshit crazy for thinking that? Am I crazy for seeing that? So I was like, no, I've got to find a tool. And so I was using human grade hemp oil for my dog Almond, who sadly passed away, but I was rewiring. He was such a mess when I first rescued him, so scared of everything, and he went from being so scared, unable to walk, hiding all the time, shaking all the time, to walking off leash next to me, listening to everything, so confident, like an amazing dog. And it was because I was using hemp oil to reduce the anxiety in the beginning, lift that curtain of anxiety, so I could start rewiring that trauma, start showing him, you don't have to fear that anymore. You can listen to me. You can trust that you can trust that when I'm giving you food every day, you're always going to get every day. And through repetition, starting to rewire my old thought patterns. I started doing that with my own dog, and then I started doing it with my clients, and I was seeing so many amazing results that I was like, holy shit balls, the whole world needs to know about using this tool. So I created the Heal method, and basically what that is it's using my specific formulas with adaptogens in them. And basically it's 2 parts. It's using these formulas to lift this curtain of anxiety, because the anxiety is there. It's very hard to rewire something if you have this anxiety in front of you the whole time. Lift this curtain of anxiety, and while this curtain of anxiety is out of the way, I can start seeing through repetition, oh, I actually do have fun around men. I do have fun in public situations. I'm enjoying this. I actually enjoy being alone. But you can't start to change those experiences and those negative belief systems associated with certain things if you have a curtain of anxiety. So that's where the Heal method came in.